state because he keeps living the 33rd day of the year, Imbolc, all over again. Isn't that interesting? I have a comic book. I've kept it since I was a child. I probably need to get rid of it because my son said, "Dad, can I read this?" No. It's called The Son of Satan. There was actually a comic book called The Son of Satan. That's the beast. That's the Antichrist, the son of perdition. He was born, his birthday is the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd, Imbolc, Groundhog Day. That was his birthday. And then we move to Ostara, March 21st. That's the equinox. Ostara, as you might guess, is related to Ishtar, Isis, Ashtaroth, related to equality or balance and harmony. Hence, we have the yin-yang symbol. That's what that's a symbol of. We look at this graphic here. We have yin and yang. Notice that it's negative, positive, female, male, night, day, passive, active, moon, sun, intuitive, logical, cold, hot, soft, hard. All of these things that God created, and yet now the devil is making them a picture of the fusion or the balance of equations or the balance of things that are opposite one another, bringing them together. And of course, you know the idea of Ashtaroth. She's a fertility goddess. She waits to be courted and mated with so that she can produce her child. She's waiting for the sun god Osiris to come to the moon goddess, fertility, Ashtaroth, so that Horus, the God-man, can be born. That's what this day represents. We have Beltane. Does anybody see the name Baal in Beltane? When is that? May 1st. And on May 1st, this is what's weird. May 1st is, and here's what happens. February 2nd is supposedly when this God is born, or the son of Satan is born, or whatever. He's conceived on Beltane. So you go from Beltane all the way back around to February. May 1st back to February, you roughly have 9 months. Kind of interesting. I think it matches there. Because on Beltane, all of these pretty May queens, these young girls, remember the virgin, the mother, and then the crone, these young girls are taught to dance around this pole. Wow. Boy, did we wake up one day. There's still school districts that on May 1st will have their little girls and boys dancing around the maypole. Beltane is basically about the god, the horned god, the May Lord, going in and coupling with the May Queen. Stairway to Heaven. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen. That's what he was talking about. The devils made him write that lyric out the way he did. So we have the maypole, and we have the girls. Actually, you see they got their little ribbons. It just kind of looks like DNA. That's what it looks like. And so it's the birth. Annuit Coeptus. He favors the birth of a new world order. That's what this is all about. And why did... Now, Beltane is on May 1st. So you think of Adam Weishaupt in 1776, which at the bottom of that pyramid, that's what it represents, 1776. Adam Weishaupt formed the Order of Perfectibilists, or the Illuminati, on May 1st, 1776. Why? Why is it that Barack Obama had to announce the death of Osama bin Laden on May 1st? Why did George Bush fly out to the USS Abraham Lincoln on May 1st and declared that there was an end to the war when actually there wasn't? Why did he have to do it on May 1st? Why all these particular events happening on May 1st, the 121st day of the year, which is a multiple of 11? That day in particular shows the union together of the May Lord and the May Queen. That's what the maypole represent. Don't let your kids dance around a maypole. Okay? Now I know, as I said, when we were in ignorance, we would go, oh wow, this is so cute. Look at all the pretty dresses and the wreaths of flowers in their hair. It looks so pretty. But then you know a little bit and you go, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And then we have June 21st, Litha or Midsummer. And remember, this basically represents, I will be like the Most High. Every year in England, the pagans will get around at the summer solstice. They'll go to Stonehenge and they'll perform all the little ceremonies and rituals. Other places, what they're doing is they're worshiping the sun. You know what they're doing? I want to show you this. I want to show you what they're doing. This God just kind of is helping me with this here. Let me show you what they're doing on June 21st of every year. All the pagans and all the people who celebrate this stuff. Okay? Verse, let's see here. Verse 20 of Romans chapter 1. For the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power in God is, so they are without excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified Him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Verse 22, professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, to birds, four-footed beasts, and creeping things. You know what they did? They worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator. And that's what all these people are doing on all these 8 days of these festivals. Now we have Lammas, which is in I think mid-August. All right, it's one of the cross quarter days. It is between the fall equinox and the summer solstice. It roughly lies halfway in between those. So Lammas, every year at Lammas, Wiccans and pagans, they'll bake like a little cookie or a wafer or some kind of little cake or some bread in the figure of their god, and they'll eat it. That was addressed in the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Now, here's something that I know, and I can't quite put my finger on it yet. I know it's seen right now. In every pagan ritual, in Freemasonry, in the occult and mystery religion, they all have the idea that somehow eating the god makes you the god. That's what they have. So here we have the Catholic pagan festival of the Mass, transubstantiation. They make a cake to the Queen of Heaven in the form of the sun god, and they say, if you eat this, you'll have God in you. And they really believe this, and this is what they practice. And so it's all about let's consume, because it's a feast of the harvest, is what it is. And there is a goddess of the harvest and so on. And they believe that when the harvest comes in, we're going to celebrate and we're going to give an oblation to the god of the harvest, or whoever that is. Okay? And it's a pagan festival, and they believe that in eating the god, they become the god. And then we have the autumnal equinox. It's called Mabon or Mabon. And you see here in this image what's called the cornucopia, the horn of plenty. Think of the horned god now, because it's that idea that the horned God is the one who granted you the blessings of the harvest. It's another harvest festival, is what it is. And it takes place somewhere around September 21st at the autumnal equinox. Remember, the equinox represents the fusion of the opposites together. Then we get into what they refer to, the pagans, the witches, whoever, refer to as one. There's four actual, but one of the high, quote-unquote, holy days of, and again, it looks like Samhain, some guy named Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain. Again, it's Celtic and Irish and Nordic and has all these different pronunciations coming in here, and it's just pronounced Samhain. It's one of the four great Sabbats, and here's what it represents. Samhain, October 31st, All Hallows Eve. Here's what happened. The Catholic Church took this particular day, because it was being practiced in paganism anyway, took this particular day because the people were contacting the dead spirits. That's called necromancy, and it's actually frowned on in the Scripture. You're not supposed to contact dead spirits. People are, and they're not contacting my Uncle Ernie who died 20 years ago, who supposedly left me a fortune somewhere. They're not contacting him. That's a familiar spirit is what it is. It's a devil. They're contacting the gods of dead people. Because for some reason, I haven't quite figured it out yet, for some reason they think right at All Hallows Eve, the night of October 31st into November 1st, that the separation between our world and the dead world is very, very thin. They call it a veil, and it's very, very thin. It's almost like, and here's the imagery that I get, it's almost like the idea of a woman who's about ready to give birth. They check the woman to see that how thin the veil is between what's in her womb and the outside world. And I kind of think that it has that connotation to it. And that is where Halloween came from. It came from the idea. In South America, it's called, and Mexico, it's called Dia de los Muertos. You know what that's, my Spanish is terrible. You know what that is? Day of the Dead. And in Mexico and in other places, they put on these skull masks. They have skulls everywhere, skeletons and things like that. They worship the dead. They honor. They say that they can get in tune and bring oblations to their dead relatives. Folks, I'm here to tell you. Let me read this, Matthew 22:32. Jesus said, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. Now, I will tell you that there is a God of the living. And there is a God of the dead. Whose God is, what God is that? Living, being part of the day, night, being part of death. And October, the night of October 31st into November 1st is the day when we can commune with the spirits. That's what Samhain is. That's just where it came from. And then we have Yule. You've heard that word before. Make the Yuletide gay. Okay, I mean, we still have the remnants of this in this thing that we do called Christmas. Now, and let me deal with what Yule represents, and then I'll talk a little bit more about this. The Yule feast in Nordic mythology centered around the god Odin and a hunt for souls. All right, here's Odin. He's the Yule god. He's the hunter. Where do we see that in the Bible? Genesis chapter 10, verse 8. Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. You remember Nimrod is like the god of all these Babylonian mystery cults and mystery ideas. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel and Babylon. And he was slain. So the idea of Nimrod is that he is the slain god that awaits to be resurrected again. And here we have in the Yule feast, we have the sun being at its lowest point. The day shortened, it's dark. It's this like the sun god is dead, and he awaits resurrection again. And so that's when we start the cycle back at Imbolc, February 2nd, all over again. Here's the thing. You don't have to know all of this. If you're taking notes, you don't have to know all of this. In fact, probably in most cases it's better if you don't know all of this. You don't have to study it more. You don't have to dig deeper into this stuff. I mean, I just kind of went with the Wikipedia article and okay, I accept that. Okay, I understand what that's all about. Here's what the Bible says. All right? And I want you to think about the Yule idea of the hunter god, because when we look in Revelation 13, we see the horned god, the beast rising up out of the sea with 10 horns. And John said in verse 2 that the beast was like a leopard, a bear, a lion, and a dragon. All of these animals, these 4 animals, a leopard, bear, lion, and dragon, are hunter animals. Leopards hunt. Bears hunt. They fish too. Lions hunt.